Hello, I am Keaton Punch, and I am the director. I also filmed and edited for this music video. And here with me driving the car
is me. I'm Eunith, also known as Matthew. I made the song Gifts, and I am friends with Keaton.
Welcome to our mobile podcast.
That's right.
We are on the streets, on the road, in the Miata.
No, on the streets is the better way to phrase
We're
that.
on the streets.
We're on the streets.
And we're here to talk about our new music video for the song Gifts. I think something that I was really focused on was making more use out of my very expensive projector and kind of justifying that purchase. I mean, we've used it so many times.
We've used it a ton. What are you talking about?
Yeah, but it's like we have not used it enough, I feel.
Okay.
Especially for our own like video productions.
You're right.
So,
You've used it in practical ways, like at parties and for fun.
Yeah.
It's a short throw projector where you don't have to have it really far away from a screen. You can have it really close to a screen, and it can still fill up the screen because it shoots its projection upward as opposed to like outward. So if you're working in a tighter space or you need a setup where you don't want the projector to be seen because you're filming towards what it's projecting and you don't want to get behind it, this is like the solution for that. That's what it is. So saved you the breath. There you go.
Yes,
it's a short throw projector. It's very cool.
So I was just thinking, and I came up with this concept many, many months ago this year. I think it was around the summertime when I brought it up to you to begin with. And I wanted to do something that was very rhythm-based because that's an idea that we have not tried yet. And
that's right.
In the style of our productions, we always try to do something that's new to us, that is experimental, something that we can challenge ourselves creatively to do. And I felt like we could do something that is almost like a rhythm game that we're all familiar with.
Love DDR. Love it. Love Beat Saber.
I know Rock Band for me personally is very, very dear to me, and so that's kind of where some of the visual inspiration came from in creating those background visuals with all the different colored notes that are moving like in a perfectly straight line. And I think it really, really matched the aesthetic that we were going for. When we first started talking about it, we knew that we wanted, or you knew that you wanted something rhythmic to be going on with it, but you hadn't even yet thought about changing the color scheme from one part of the video to another part of the video. Even that is something that came a little bit later. It was originally, okay, there's going to be some things here, but it wasn't necessarily like, oh, we're going to have a new palette of colors when you're in a different environment like fire or fog or rain. It was just like, I want you to pass something. And I was like, yeah, Rainbow Road meets Beat Saber, let's go. I was very down for that. It definitely was just like a few colors at first that I thought was going to be the entire look of the whole video, but I figured I need, for all my videos, I need it to be entertaining to watch and exciting to watch. Something that won't make you bored, something that's like constantly changing and keeping you interested. So I felt that changing the color scheme of the visuals would be a part of that, and that also motivated having the change in scenery, the subtle changes. It's not like the entire world around you changed, but definitely the simulated weather changed. So we made sure to correspond those colors to every single change that we did. Like the fog was all purple, our patented steely purple. Hey,
I love that color, After, it made its debut and they wanted you, and then we used it to fill up the room quite a bit in one of the scenes for How You See Me. I was just like, look, I love this color for life. It's so great. Yeah, like a gray, light purple. It's just cool, steely, Yeah, I love that one.
So it was very cool to do all that and create our own moods in such a tight environment.
Yeah.
And
you know what? And thank goodness it is tight, because you would think that wanting to project these visuals behind the driver in the car, you would think that a 200-inch canvas would be big enough. From seeing the video, if you have seen the video, if he were to have zoomed out even just a little bit more, to see more of the car, you would actually stop seeing a lot of the screen.
Yeah, you would see the light stands holding the screen.
Yeah, or you'd see...
And the neighbor's house.
The neighbor's house, It would have been like, wow. I mean, and a Miata is a smaller car to begin with, so I can only imagine how weirdly tight the shots would have had to have been if we would have been using I don't know, like a full-size sedan, an SUV, like a longer car. But I mean, a little sporty car is sick, so I'm glad that we did it anyway.
Yeah, I think a good question to focus on is, what do you think we could have done better if we had the chance to recreate this video? And I think that is one detail, is a bigger screen to give us more flexibility.
Yeah.
And a 200-inch screen is very big. We've used it, and
you have no idea how much of a pain in the butt it is to set up this screen.
Yeah.
And you did it by yourself this time, which I told you didn't have to do, but
it's just like,
you did it.
Just got to focus on the time management and other people's time. Got to make sure everything's ready according to the schedule. But yeah, setting up a 200-inch screen is very difficult because you have to make it tight, because any little breeze will like really distort the image so much.
Yep.
And it amplifies even more having a short throw projector like this, because of the angle of the lens, and you need that screen to be tight.
I mean, I've said this with other videos that we've done too, but I feel like a lot of this stuff is truly only possible because of where in California we live and the fact that the weather just permits it. Like, we were filming outside, and a few days later, it got very windy. And if it had been that windy the nights that we were trying to film, impossible. It would have been over. It rained today, and we filmed the video 9 days ago. If it was raining the day we were filming, nope, that would have been over as well.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, I just think that we're very fortunate so often, and I try to keep that in mind with, you know, just where we are and how we're able to film our videos. I mean, if we had a concept that involved a lot of snow, we probably wouldn't be able to pull it off. So we temper our expectations, I'll say.
I just feel like every one of our productions is just meant to be. Whenever we set out to do something that is very risky or experimental or ambitious, we just know it's going to work out. We just have that faith, and it always does. Never failed. So
yeah, it actually, you know,
never doubt us.
We have been very, I will say, we have been fortunate. We have been tenacious. We've been resourceful with lots of things. I don't know, we owe a lot to our friends too. I mean, there have been some videos that we've done in the past where two of us could have pulled it off, you know, by ourselves. And I think we might have for They Wanted You. Was someone else involved?
For They Wanted You? No, it's just us two.
Right. But some concepts like this simply aren't possible. There are parts in the video, the leaves, the rain, the fog machine. It's really just not that possible without our friends having been involved to help us.
The only way to have made that possible. Sorry, did I?
No. I'm just saying we're so grateful.
Yeah. The only way
so grateful
to have made that possible with us two would be cameras on a tripod, so we're not getting any moving handheld shots.
That's right.
And I would be the one controlling all the elements, and doing that amount of work by myself would have been very, very difficult, and achieving that intense look that we were going for, having that amount of leaves, the rain and the air pump pushing all the water. Like,
did you want something to eat? Did you want me to go through the drive-thru?
I'm pretty hungry, yeah. Let's get some food.
I was
kind of hoping
I was saving this as a surprise.
Part of the podcast.
Yeah.
So yeah, we absolutely needed to have more people be a part of this production, and so that's why we do our call-outs.
That's why we have friends.
We need the help.
That's why we appreciate them every day of the year, even when we're not making music videos. They are very appreciated.
This is McDonald's? I haven't had McDonald's in probably like 6 years.
Are you okay with this? Are you
it's fine. Give me some Big Macs, please.
Okay, let's go. So I gotta admit, whenever we're filming these type of things, I really do like. I mean, it's just natural because of how complex some of the shots can be. Being the actor in the car, you feel pretty useless. You feel like, what am I doing here? Like, I'm just sitting. Everybody else is quickly drying off the car, or they're like making it rain on the car again, and I'm like waiting. It's like, okay, and then when the camera rolls, I'm just, okay,
you did have to brave the cold a little bit.
I did.
Because we needed you to be just in that t-shirt and long sleeve.
Yep.
Very, very thin layers.
I mean, if we had styled me so that I was only in short sleeve, Lord Almighty, that would have been brutal. But, you know, it was fine. It was manageable. The other thing that I always wonder about these type of productions is how you can plan for what's going to be caught in camera versus what you know you're going to have to do in post anyway, and how you can see the shot and be like, well, this is the shot, even though it doesn't have all the special effects that I've laid over it yet.
Yeah, people call that putting on your VFX goggles while you're filming.
Oh, okay, yeah, that then.
Yeah.
Tell me more about that, because, I mean, there's
there's
a lot of effects in this
There
video.
was a lot of practical effects happening in camera, so that did the heavy lifting for sure, and that was just used to motivate any compositing that I did. So the rain with the hose in my front yard, very, very easy for me to just like add some digital stock footage, rain going in the same direction that we were spraying in. So that was the easiest part. We also had the fog machine, so just adding a little bit more of a dense fog to the scene helped tie it all together. My favorite photos from behind the scenes were some of SCHUYLER just below the car with the tube light and rotating that warm color to simulate the fire flickering on the car.
That is good. No,
I love that
I
so
like
much.
those photos a lot.
It was so effective in selling that fire look.
I do like those photos a lot. Whenever I was looking at the whole kind of like, oh, these are the photos that were taken behind the scenes, those were some that I marked with like a little blue dot to be like, oh, I want to keep these. I'm definitely going to share these. Maybe by the time you're seeing this video, I have already shared them. So
This is the
who knows?
cutest little 4-piece box I've ever seen.
Little baby nugs. Thank you.
Wow.
Yeah, no, I thought those were really great. It's a moment where you have a practical detail that really adds a lot to it.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so now that we've covered your VFX, the other thing that I think should talk about is sort of how we go about setting the vibe for the video. When you approached me with this idea, one of the things I brought up to you was I said that I wanted parts of the video to definitely feel like, oh, we're moving, we're intimate with the car and with the person who is driving there. It's not like we're just watching them from a distance.
Oh, cup holders right here. Look at that.
Oh. It might be in the lens. Is the fisheye catching that? It might actually catch that.
The straw in the top of the lid.
Really?
Yeah, I like that.
But one of the things
So
that
the
we said was
aesthetic,
like
the
aesthetic,
vibe, the
yeah.
tone.
We wanted it to have those cuts. We wanted
It
it to have
also
details.
needed to have the same tone and the mood as we transition out of How You See Me, because that was the plan from the beginning.
I did
Is we're
forget
going to
about
have that transition from the ending of How You See Me into the beginning of Gifts. So I remember during our first meeting about brainstorming ideas and details specifically for this music video, there was something I brought up that was like a little bit more in the comedic tone, and you're like, no, it can't be that.
I mean, look, I'm all for funny videos. I'm
Yeah.
like, obviously.
We make funny videos.
No, we make funny
but
videos, yeah.
This music video, it was just inappropriate to have jokes like what we wanted in there.
I think one of the details that this guy's done going. People are gonna honk at me in a second. Okay. But one of the things that I really enjoyed was getting a detail shot of the G-Shock. I've had that watch for I don't know how many years now, but I remember it was just, it's like one of the classic like bright red G-Shocks that's out there. I just thought it was so hilarious and incongruent with kind of like who I am as a person, really, to own one of those. And my mother was asking one year, like, I don't know what he wants for Christmas. And then I think I said, like, well, I do like this thing. Or maybe Bree told her, I don't know. But she got me that G-Shock. And it was just so funny because it's so unapologetically large and red. Mm-hmm. And to be able to coordinate like an outfit with it and have it like be a part of something artistic that we do that I care about actually is kind of like me injecting a tiny bit of humor still into it. So
yeah.
So that is fulfilling.
It's an undertone
in that sense.
for sure.
Yeah, that's fulfilling in that sense. The other thing, now I think about it, it's kind of like it's almost like an homage to like the 90s, maybe mid 90s, late 90s type of music that like really helped form my taste in music now that I think about it. Because the G-Shocks were kind of around that time as well. I think, was it Dr. Dre wearing them or was it Eminem? And then,
I don't know.
I mean, yeah, why would we know? Wasn't quite my scene at...
Leave it in the comments.
Yeah, at age like 6. But then the ball chain necklace that I have That is the same one I have owned. Like, I did not buy that ball chain necklace recently, okay? I have had that since 1998 or 1999. I've had that because I was really into the Goo Goo Dolls and Third Eye Blind. I really liked both of those bands a lot, okay? Sue me. But they're very formative in my like songwriting and in like, I don't know, my musical taste really as a kid. And both of those members of those bands wore that necklace. And I was like, that's so cool. So I definitely bought it. And I've had it ever since. There have been obviously years, like spans of years where I go without wearing it at all. But as of late, I'm wearing it once again. I'm like, you know what, who cares?
It's
like,
cool.
I like
It's
this
cool.
thing, yeah. So it was really nice to be able to include that as well. It's kind of like a piece of my
Well, you know
past.
what's funny? When I was considering potential outfits for you to wear, what you ended up choosing was not even close to what I had in mind originally. I think because I had this vision from other night drive type movies, like Drive with Ryan Gosling. And I'm just like, oh, Matthew's got to have a cool jacket, got to be layered up like that. It's got to look tough. And
gloves.
And
Yeah.
he's got to look like a bad boy.
Can I even look like a bad boy? Is that even possible?
But I kind of just let you choose something, and you had a cool choice. I like what you ended up going with. It was very well. I'm wearing the similar on purpose.
Throwback.
Got the t-shirt and long
Throwback.
sleeve. Is that? Would you say that's early 2000s?
I don't know. Okay, so like early 2000s.
Because I just
is
think
when
of
it
the
hit
Scooby-Doo
mainstream.
movie whenever I see that look.
Oh, well, the first thing I think about is I remember in like the late 90s, and this is not the music I was into, but I remember seeing in like magazines and stuff. This is pre like internet everywhere. But I remember seeing like hardstyle, techno, very electronic scene, like ravers wearing that type of clothing. And like some of the DJs were wearing that. And it was just so like, I guess it was probably an evolution of grunge into that scene first before it hit the mainstream just fashion, where I assume you and I probably met it and ended up wearing it more often. But when I see it, I definitely think like in the shadows, you know, a back alley in London or like Bristol, you know, and like, you know, it's just hard style. These are the people there. Maybe a buzz cut to go with it, but that has never happened.
Yeah.
So, no.
But yeah, I was very happy with the look. Seeing all the footage come together, I think it's a cool look. And you did mention how fashion and music videos and just the choice of outfit that the main character is wearing is very important.
Yeah, I feel like we need to always identify, and I think this is a result of us having very lean productions, where we have, you know, a crew of friends and volunteers, and then we have the two of us for the most part. We're wearing so many hats and doing so many jobs that sometimes we may have forgotten some of the opportunities that we have to be really artistic. And wardrobe is one of those opportunities in music videos that you have to be very artistic. I know that in some of our other music videos, we also have not experimented much with hair and makeup. I know we haven't back here. That was wild that there was hair and makeup all over it. But that is like another layer of art, because, you know, you have the song itself, then you have the
It's like you're creating a character.
Yeah, you have all these ways of expressing things. And then, of course, you know, it converges, and then it, you know, falls in on itself, and you have crap like product placement, you know, and before you know it, everyone has like Beats headphones, and like you're like, something like that, which is still funny. I mean, I would still do that even just for the joke. But I like us to always remember that there are so many layers that we can take advantage of whenever we're making one of these videos. And fashion is one that I'm excited to explore a little bit more in the other videos we do. We were able to make some of our detail shots mean a little bit more if it was like, okay, we're looking at the necklace, we're looking at the ring, we're looking at the shirt, as opposed to just being like, I don't know, it's just his hand. Maybe we have like a moment with like his hair again. You know, these details become more numerous, and you have more to choose from and work with when you have
It just adds so much
thoughtful
more
wardrobe.
interest to what you're watching.
Yeah. So I was really happy with that. And I hope it's something that we can keep exploring and keep getting really cool with. Because I gotta admit, I didn't think we were going to have this cool of a car throughout the video, and we did. We ended up
Yeah, I
with the
remember
Miata.
when we were brainstorming, like, I asked you, I said, what is the dream car? Like, what is the car we should get for this music video? Because we didn't know. I didn't have a vision. I just figured, like, it shouldn't be your Prius. It shouldn't be my Mazda. We gotta find something that's more unique than that. And we first, like, considered, who do we know that we can borrow a car from?
Yep.
And we have a friend that has a very, very luxurious sports car that we could have borrowed, but taking that into consideration, like, does it fit the tone of the video? Is it, like, the most appropriate car we could choose for this?
Yeah.
And it didn't really seem like it was, so
Yeah.
I think you just happened to show me a picture of the Miata, saying that your cousin has it and could maybe let us borrow it. And I like the way it looked. I think for me, personally, just seeing that, my impression was, I've never seen this car before in my entire life. This is a unique car, and I think we should use it. So I thought it was interesting, and I did like the fact that it's just a two-seater. It's very compact, not for filming purposes, but for also, like, story purposes and keeping the story as simple as possible. Because we were kind of, before we figured out the car choice, we were considering, like, can we introduce, like, adding more characters in the other seats, you know, in the back seats. And I think just keeping it limited to only you is the smartest choice for also efficiency and
practicality, efficiency. I mean, look, we would love to make a feature-length film, but the thing is, when you work with multiple actors in a scene, everyone's performance has to be great. You know, you have a lot more moving parts. Your shooting schedule cannot be 2 whirlwind days of getting everything done with, like, 1 or 2 days of testing beforehand. Like, you do have to schedule out, like, I mean, weeks, months in order to make it happen. And we don't have to do that, thankfully, whenever we keep things this lean. That being said, I mean, I'm not afraid of doing it if you're not afraid. Future. Get more actors on screen.
Yeah,
have
of course.
more choreography. I mean,
I think it all just comes down to how passionate we are about the idea and how much time we're willing to invest in it.
You're right. Actually, I think it's a good way of characterizing it. Is we're like, oh, is it worth it? Yes. So we need to think first with another cool car and then work backwards. Like, how do we justify using a Ferrari?
So I was thinking about how many music videos we've made now, and this is number 8.
Oh my gosh.
We are almost completing your set of 9 songs. We're almost there, just one more.
Oh my gosh.
And thinking about how we approach our new ideas, and I think something that is very much kind of our brand, in a sense, in terms of pre-production, is coming up with ideas that are going to be fun for us to make and fun for us to watch. I think those are, like, the main 2 themes that I love to stick with, and kind of going deeper into that, creating experiences that are valuable to us and things that we can learn from, bring people together to learn from us and get an insight on our process, because with each new video we get more people interested and curious, like, this small team, like, made this? And it really is a small team every time.
And also, you never know, like, over the course of production, there are always these moments where it's like, oh man, we could have used another set of hands to hold this or to move it while someone already has their hands full. And having other people there is just, oh my gosh, it's so useful. But in the vein of small teams, I really do hope every time that we create a project, I really do hope that there are other filmmakers out there like yourself who are seeing how possible it is to do things with just the help of your friends, and to do things with just really, really careful filming,
just
really,
being
really
so
careful
resourceful too.
editing. Yeah, I want to see more independent folks making their videos. You know, I would love to see more musicians feeling confident enough to say, hey, look, I have an idea. And yeah, it seems really, like, epic and almost impossible, but I think it is possible because I see these other people doing it with, you know, these music videos right here that I'm seeing on YouTube. So I mean, I really always hope that, you know, art motivates more art from other people. So if you're seeing this and you're wondering, like, oh man, how do I make videos like this? I mean, you're witnessing it in action. Go and make a video. have fun with it. I mean, have fun most of all. Like that's the best part. We put deadlines on ourselves just to make sure we finish it, but it's never like we need to come out with this video. It's like we would take as long as we need to make a really, really good product.
I do like how short of a deadline I gave ourselves though for this one.
Yeah,
because we had our meeting and like, okay, cool, yeah, this is the idea. We're gonna focus on this. I'll do some testing with the visuals tomorrow, and then I'm like, can we do it next week?
Yeah, I know. You asked the dates. I was like, what?
I just knew because it's December, and last year we made a whole music video in December, so I'm like, we can do it again.
Which was crazy.
And this idea is so much more scaled down that I'm like, it's possible. I know what needs to be done.
Yeah.
And I know how long these things will take to get done before we start filming.
Yeah, you really
so
did.
all the testing, all the creating the visuals, I just didn't waste any time whatsoever, and I just go right into it. And I think within maybe 2 days, I had all the visuals created.
Oh my gosh, hold up though. You need to talk about your proof of concept.
Yeah.
You need to talk about
So as soon as I finished designing all the visuals and animating all the notes to be in sync with the song, I needed to make sure that it would work with my projector, because for one, I knew it had to be at a faster frame rate, just the way the camera works with capturing projected footage. I do 24 frames a second. For filming, you need to have at least 30 or 60 frames a second for your projection, so you don't see any of those choppy in-between moments of the projection. So did a quick test in my bedroom, projecting just onto the wall, and I needed a placeholder for Matthew.
in the car.
I just brought in one of my Luigi Mario Kart figures. Excuse me, these fries are gonna make me choke.
You brought in Luigi from the augmented reality Mario Kart race.
Live.
Yeah, where you actually get to control a little race car that goes around like your house or like your dining room or your kitchen or whatever, and you make the course for it in the game. And it's an augmented reality one, so you need the actual characters that you're racing with. So you use Luigi.
I mean, I just needed a person with the vehicle as a placeholder. I think the main thing I wanted to see, that I was most excited about, was seeing the reflections on the vehicle itself from the projection, because that was something that was going to make this video really stand out, is our completely fabricated world that we just created is being grounded with this real vehicle that we have, using those reflections, which is another great benefit of using the projector versus green screen. Green screen would not give you those reflections that just make the whole thing seem so much more impressive, so much more captivating, and...
Okay, yeah, actually, you know what? I'm sorry. You might have to clip this part of what I'm about to say into an earlier part of this video, but yeah, just to be clear for anyone watching, those are not green screen visuals in the video. I just realized most people will probably think, oh, you green screen stuff in the back. They're not. When we were talking about the projector, it's because those visuals were on a canvas, a projector screen that was next to the car. There is no green screen on there.
Yeah. It's basically what is it called in The Mandalorian? Because this is the first time I've heard of it. Was when they used
that film screen.
Is it a digital set? Is that what they call it?
Yeah, a digital set.
Set. It's like the most low budget way of creating your own digital sets using just a flat projector screen and an ultra short throw projector. It could work with the standard projector, but
it'd be tough.
With rear projection, you would have to do it that way, and it would make the image a lot more dim, which really affects the entire exposure of the image.
Being able to film it, yeah.
So having the ultra short throw projector is perfect for that extra bright image.
Yep.
And giving us real, legit reflections
onto the car.
How to focus visuals so that anytime we get like a super tight shot of you, we see those visuals go out of focus.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's the other thing. Yeah, because if it had been green screen,
and also
you'd have to be setting
it's always tracked to the camera because it's there in real life.
Yep.
You're not having to do any motion tracking, so it's just so much easier. And I'm just not a big fan of green screen to begin with, so I never wanted to consider that approach.
We might be using green screen.
Yeah, I still have it. I'm never getting rid of the green screen.
Yeah.
It's great, especially
we
for
have
like
used green
comedic.
Screen though for the Wheel of Fortune.
And also the evil.
Yep.
Evil
the evil,
antagonist.
yeah,
What are they
like
called?
Bond villain.
Yeah, yeah.
Evil antagonist, a villain.
I forgot the name we gave him, but yeah. We have used green screen before.
We have used green screen.
It's great for comedic purposes.
Oh, I like that. I do like it. People ask a lot of times with our videos, budget.
Yeah.
And a lot of that is completely dependent upon how you value your own time. But if you want to talk about money,
Also just how creative you can get with how you execute your ideas.
You're right.
Determines the budget.
You're right. So I think to give people a kind of a raw sort of, these are dollars that were spent, like literal dollars that were spent. There were dollars spent on snacks.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
For people on set.
You have to, here, number one tip, if you cannot afford to pay your crew, just because either it's a passion project and nobody's paying you to make this production.
You're not making money off it at all, yeah.
You should at the very least feed your crew.
Yeah, feed them.
And then at the very, very least, feed them snacks. You can always get like pizza. Pizza is a little bit more expensive, but I was thinking, personally, if I was a crew member and I was given a snack bag, what snacks would make me very happy and satisfied? Like what would I love to see? So, juice box, fruit. What are they called? Fruit snacks. Fruit snacks.
Come on, man, you were raised on these.
Yeah.
Welch's.
Yeah. And pretzels. Everyone loves pretzels. Super safe snack to have. A little bag of mixed nuts, as long as nobody's allergic. And we had, I love these, the peanut butter Ritz crackers. Very good. I think I snuck in one more thing in there. What else was there? Oh, freshly picked tangerines from my backyard.
Oh,
Gotta have fruits. Fresh fruits. Can't go wrong with that. And then a little water bottle as well. Always gotta have water on set.
So there's snacks.
Make sure your crew's happy.
So there's snacks. And then after that, I think you had all the gear that was needed to film this. You didn't buy any extra screens. You didn't buy any extra lights for this because you owned them. We borrowed this car from my cousin. Thank you. Thanks so much, dude. Whenever we have the shot in the video of the key going into the car to turn it on, this car, this brand new Miata,
2024.
This is not a key ignition vehicle.
It's a push to start.
This is push to start, baby. Okay. So, thank goodness, the Miata is made by Mazda. You know, I'm just gonna wait this whole light out because there's a lot of people coming.
And I have a Mazda.
And he has a Mazda.
That is not push to start, and I have a key. Because that was a very important shot I wanted to capture in the intro. Is
like, let's go.
It's like part of the plot. You discover the key. And it would be kind of underwhelming to have just like one of those key fobs. What are they called?
I got a fob? Nice.
Yeah.
All right, push.
Yeah.
I mean, we say this, and in like a few years, it'll be completely normalized, and people will see that as kind of like, wow, baller, you know. But whatever. I like, you know, the key is sick. It's culturally, well, how to say? It carries cultural weight to it.
And just with the audio that you hear in that shot, as you turn the key, that's the moment that needs to happen. You can't get that with the push button.
The rim. So. When you mentioned that key and we're like, oh, we can use your key. Oh, that's great. But I thought, well, you know what? I want to have something on the key. I want to have something on the key chain to actually move about.
Give it some personality.
Give it some personality, yeah. So that it's not just a naked key that's just like, here's this thing. And besides, when you pick something up that has a keychain, it kind of, you know, it moves a little bit. It jangles to the left or to the right. I was like, this is better. This is something that I would actually... Let's see if I can make this.
What do you think was the most unexpected thing that happened during production when we were filming?
I think the wind situation with the rain. I think during filming, because the first night we were worried. You had fans to blow the rain.
That's right.
To blow the rain, and you're like, well, is this going to be enough?
Just like normal house fans.
Normal house fans. We're like, this can blow water from a hose that's going out on like mist or shower mode or something, and it can look like rain, right? No, dude, not enough, because it's not enough to move the rain droplets, water, when it hits the car. And that's part of what makes you realize that a car is moving through the rain, is that the droplets are actually moving past it.
Yeah, we're trying to trick people, give the illusion that Matthew's actually moving and driving when he's just like
But I'm not.
parked in the
I am
entire
now,
video.
but you know, I was surprised.
I was surprised to see that even the leaf blower was not doing a very good job at pushing the water,
Yep.
the water droplets. Even I had Aiden like hold it just about a foot away from the window, and I'm just
Yeah.
like, it's not moving. Oh no!
It's not.
And it makes me think, when you see like man-made things pushing water or objects,
In
like
Hollywood?
the first thing that comes to mind, not that. I mean, I did bring that up that night, but when I got my car washed and you see the air dryers at the end, those things
Oh.
are massive.
Yo, yeah, those things are blowing.
So to think that a little fan or a leaf blower is going to do that same thing, no, we were way wrong. But
Yeah.
by some chance, my mom had an air pump in the garage.
It's like an air pump
Something
designed
that-
to like fill up a bounce house.
Yeah, probably for a bounce house. Very, very industrial. Not like massive like the car wash ones, but it's in that vein.
Yeah, yeah, no, it
And-
was so powerful.
It wasn't like ideal and perfect, but it helped so much more than anything else we could have used. What was your first impressions watching the finished music video earlier? We just watched it.
I just watched it. Yeah.
The final draft.
Yeah.
Semi-final draft. It might change one more time before we post it.
Barely.
But yeah, I showed it to Matthew
Yeah.
right before we started this podcast. So
Incredible.
how do you feel about it?
Incredible, dude. It's always the little details, because this time I got to sit in on the editing. So this was different for anyone wondering. Usually, I don't actually see the editing process of these videos. And I agree with that to an extent. Not that I want to push labor onto KEATON. No, not at all. Like, that's the last thing I want to do. I would never want to do that to me, so, right?
I asked you to sit in.
Yeah, it's more so that usually I know that at least from the people I know who work like in Hollywood, you don't show actors like their performances. Like you don't show them that. You edit it and then they deal with what was deemed to be their best performance, or else they're gonna get too like, oh no, I don't like this shot of myself or anything like that. But I think that this one just helped us stay focused and move in a way. We were working together with CAITLYN about, well, what do we want to see next? Okay, how about this one? Oh, wait, I think I caught a moment there. Oh, no, go back to that layer. Because you had it all synced up. You had the different shots from the different angles. There was 2 takes from each angle. And we had detail shots. And I think that really just, it made the editing process a lot more of, hey, what do you guys like here? As opposed to, hey, I think we need to find this, and I think we need to trim this, and we need to sync this up. Like, you did a lot of the technical work.
The way I
for
think
us.
of it is editing from the perspective of the viewer, and watching it chunk by chunk and thinking, in order for me to be as entertained as possible, what needs to be shown next? How long does this shot need to be shown for? And what effects can I add on to it to make it even more interesting?
Yeah.
And I thought that was a great approach, especially for this production, with it being so heavily reliant on just the few angles we got, figuring out the best moments for those angles, and sprinkling in our cream of the crop detail shots whenever we felt was most appropriate.
The cream of the crop.
Yeah, and we got a lot. That car, combined with the projection visuals and all the reflections, created some very, very beautiful visuals.
Yeah.
And on top of that, having water droplets refracting the lights and all the little out of focus, beautiful, soft
Rack
moments.
focus, Victoria. Great,
Yeah.
just some great moments there. Thank you.
Saved us.
Thank you for being camera 2. There's some great work there. Can't wait to see what you make in the future as well, or can't wait to have you on for another project as well.
Yeah,
that goes for every member of the crew. Like, we always welcome return guest appearances and everything like that. And we're always happy to help you with your projects too. At least I am, if I'm available. Got to catch me when I'm in town. But to answer your question of what I felt when I first saw it, because I had already seen what the shots looked like, whereas other times I didn't even know what the shots looked like. So I'd already gone like, about the quality of the shots, and especially the reflections on the car. I'm like, oh, I love that type of stuff. It's so cool to me. Like materials. I just love materials, I think. Very like tactile. It makes me want to like rub my fingers on the car and be like, wow, cool, smooth, reflective. But for seeing it today, the final product, I think what stuck out to me was the great details, the camera shake, the wind lines that were added, the way you composite more fog or more fire
into something. The final color grade, especially when the color grade kind of has to change from scene to scene for whatever the tone is of that weather event. And then of course,
we also have a
the
name.
ending.
We also have a name for our color grade. Something I brought up when I did a test of that final credit shot from the perspective behind the car, adding the extra glow. I'm like, this looks so much like Minority Report.
Yeah, it's Minority Report.
The look that movie has. So
It's Minority
that's just
Report.
how we kept referring to it from that point on.
Yeah. I mean, I love the Minority Report color grade. That was just great.
If you aren't familiar, I asked my brother today if he was, and he's like, I've never seen that movie. But basically, it's very soft and dreamy, especially in the highlights of all the footage where it blooms and it wraps around whatever the brightest part of the image is being obscured by. And it's a very soft, flattering look. And I think for a concept that's this surreal and dreamlike, it was very, very appropriate. And it's also kind of in that vein of my Pro Mist filter, which I did not use for the first time on this production because of so many...
I thought you weren't using it. Yeah, I thought so. I thought I caught that.
There was so many backlighting complications with that filter that I'd prefer to have control over it afterwards, so did not use the Pro Mist filter.
Okay.
Because when you have too much backlight with that, it just like washes out and creates too many almost like lens flare effects.
Look at you, man. You know your tools. See, that's the difference. I feel like I would have been a little too like, heck yeah, throw that filter. We had fun with that thing.
And the thing
I would have overdone it.
Post-production filters are just getting so good now that you don't always need the Pro Mist.
So it's like the audio world too, where guitar amp emulations are getting so good that you sort of ask yourself, why would I record it through a tube amp where I don't have any more control afterwards in the mix to do anything like more with it? I mean, a lot of things in post are, we have the power to control things if you start with just a very raw file. And I don't know, it's the future. Get ready, everyone. Soon we'll just be taking a quick little 3D scan of our heads and then just saying like, I want my video to be this, and type the whole thing, and before you know it, we'll be out of jobs, punch. No more videos.
Something you made me think of earlier when you're listing sorts of details that we're considering in this production is the camera shake and how important that is into selling this illusion that you're driving the car. And 50% of the footage was entirely shot on a tripod. Yep. And the other 50% was me sitting in the most unhealthy back-breaking position and shaking very much throughout the entire filming. I was doing a lot of research on this type of production and creating the illusion that you're driving the car, what things that have to be done. So sometimes people will be outside the car like shaking the back of it to create that movement. Sometimes if you have the window down, maybe you can have a fan blowing your hair.
We tried the shaking of the car.
It didn't really do anything.
It didn't really do anything,
It was very insignificant. So
because
I'm just like, don't even bother.
The shocks are so
don't even
good
bother.
on the 2024 Mazda Miata. The shocks are just unparalleled.
But yeah, something I didn't even realize until doing research about a couple weeks ago was the camera shake. When you have any sort of shots, no matter if it's Hollywood or low budget, mid budget, if you're attaching a camera to a car and getting footage of your actor, the camera's going to shake a little bit. That's just the fact of it. You can't avoid it. So in every shot that was steady on the tripod, I made sure to add just a little bit of digital camera shake with different levels of intensity based on how zoomed in it was. So if it was like a very tight shot of Matthew, I would add a little bit extra camera shake. If it was more of a wide shot, then less camera shake.
You actually made shake presets. I saw
3 different ones.
Yeah, in your editor. I saw the like shake wide, shake close, shake mid. I'm like,
And it was very convincing. I'm so glad I discovered that because it would not look the same otherwise.
And with that,
we have reached our destination. This concludes our podcast for the Gifts music video. Thank you for listening. I hope this gave you some, and watching, and bearing with us as we had our little McDonald's break.
Heck yeah.
Thanks again for that. Hope you gained some insights, some inspiration, and some excitement for our future productions because we're always making some cool stuff in the years ahead of us. I know that I'm always down for more music videos, as you are.
Dude,
you've never...
You gotta check with me, you just tell me, you're like,
Yeah.
next week.
So yeah, thank you all so much for the support. As always, we appreciate it so much.
We really do.
Because it gets us excited to know that people like what we do.
Yeah, obviously. I mean, yeah. And if you have any other questions, just drop them as a comment, and we'll reply as best as we can and try not to make it too verbose of an answer. We hope that you guys are as excited about this and as excited about the next oncoming projects as we are. Thanks, guys.
Stay creative.
Bye.
Bye.